Artık millet doydu bu şeylere, webinarlara. Kimsenin ilgisini çekmiyor.
Şeyde çok doydular bir de. Pandemi zamanı herkes çok online katıldı.
Hı hı.
O furya bitti.
Bağlandınız mı?
Geliyor.
Hı hı. 56 kişi oldu. Kaydolan bizim Sinan falan vardı. Hiç görmüyorum. Hı hı. Eski. Eyvah ne oldu? Paylaş dedim. Yanlış bir şey geldi. Şuradan hemen gireceğim değil mi? Tamam. Tamam.
Şuradan paylaş yapıp onu seçip paylaşacağız.
Hı hı.
Benim firmanın adı,
Hı?
bizim firmanın adı, onunla kaydedeyim.
Neyle?
Nite.
Ne diyor?
Önce kayıt istiyor toplantı için.
64 katılımcı oldu. Yani
Yani
Kerem geldi. Sinan var.
yani
Hmm, 71 kişi oldu. Mütekim oldu. Tamam. Hı hı. Bize çok kişi geliyor. Şu perdeyi kapatsak yani. Tülü.
Can we start? Go already.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Paylaşın.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you to Go, yeah, for your kindness to spare your time to be a speaker in our webinars. But first, I want to ask your apologies. I will say in Bahasa Indonesia first. Bapak dan Ibu, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hari ini adalah hari webinar kita yang ke-12 ya, 12 atau ke-232 sejak kita memulai webinar ini. Dan kita akan mendengarkan sharing knowledge ya terkait dengan Turki ya, terkait dengan Turki di mana ini sangat erat hubungannya dengan kita Indonesia yang akan mengakselerasi pembangunan PLTN. Ya. Beberapa pelajaran atau pengalaman mereka mungkin bisa kita ekstrak, kita jadikan lesson learn dan juga dapat menjadi strategi kita ke depan bagaimana untuk bisa mengakselerasi pembangunan PLTN di Indonesia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we will have a webinar, yeah, HIMNI webinars collaboration with the Turkey, Women in Nuclear Turkey, and also awarded by the International Council for Women in Technology and Industry. Warm greetings and welcome to all participants joining these international webinars. Yeah. This is the webinars of HIMNI number 12 in this year, or 232, since we start the webinar on 2020. It is our great honor to host today's session. It is very special one because we will have a special speakers, an expert one. Yeah, it will be so interesting one. This is a collaborative effort between the Indonesia Nuclear Society, HIMNI, and Women in Nuclear Turkey. where we will explore Turkey's bold journey in advancing nuclear energy, and more importantly, recognize the central role women are playing in shaping this transformation. Although geographically in distant, so Indonesia and Turkey is about 9,000 kilometers separating Indonesia and Turkey. Roughly, if we are using the plane, it will take almost 11 hours direct flight. The values we share will be bring us closer, not depend on the distance itself. National independence, scientific progress, and the pursuit of a clean, sustainable, and energy future. Turkey is globally admired not only for its rich cultural heritage, as we know, and strategic geography, but also for its forward-thinking policies in energy development. From the spiritual and architectural majesties of Istanbul, the serene beauty of Cappadocia, I think, yeah, to the historic grandeur of Ephesus and the coastal serenity of Antalya. Turkey, even I never been there, is a land of diversity and depth, very beautiful one. Now it is also home to new symbol. Turkey is also home of a new symbol of energy sovereignty, the Akkuyu Nuclear Power Plant, as we know. The Akkuyu is located in Mersin, and our speaker will describe in detail later. Province along the Mediterranean coast, the Akkuyu NPP is Turkey's first nuclear power station. Jadi ini adalah PLTN pertama untuk Turki, compressing for over 1,000 around 1,200 reactors units. I mean the power in total capacity with 4,800 megawatt, I think, and built under BOO. This is a very I think that Indonesia should learn about the BOO from Turkey models in partnership with Rosatom. This project is expected to provide approximately, I think, please correct me, Go, 10% of Turkey's electricity needs. Unit 1 is already over 90% complete, maybe, and is scheduled to begin commercial operation in 2025, according to the website. But
So-
more than the engineer milestone, Akkuyu represent the transformation of national mindset. So, successive steps toward energy security, low carbon power generation, and regional leadership. So we must acknowledge that the road of nuclear development is not paved with the technology one. One of the most decisive factor for success lies on public acceptance. The socialization and outreach space is not a formality, it is foundational. It determines whether the public will support, question, or resist nuclear initiatives. This is where women have an invaluable role. So our colleagues, Gul will maybe, she will describe more detail about the woman participation as trusted communicators, cultural mediators, and advocates for informed understanding. And then today, before listening, learning, and find inspiration for from our colleagues, Turkey's experience, we will listen greetings from our colleagues from the Women in Nuclear Russia. Please, Pak Jarod, help us to her video.
Evet.
Webinar Empowering a Nation, Turkey's Nuclear Power Pursuit and the Role of Women in Shaping It. My name is
Ne oldu?
Alexandra Bih, and I have the honor of serving as head of the Rosatom
Gene, shall we start?
begin by expressing my sincere
Rusya'dan bağlanıyor.
gratitude to all our partners who helped make this important and timely event possible. I'm particularly proud to highlight our long-standing collaboration with Gül Hanim, a true pioneer who has done remarkable work in promoting nuclear technology in Turkey, while serving as a powerful advocate for our industry. Our partnership reached a significant milestone in 2022 and has since grown substantially. In 2023, we successfully organized a Week of Women Technology Leadership, hosting sessions in both Ankara and Silifke. This was followed by productive discussion and NPPS 2024, where we held a special session advancing the dialogue on gender equality in the nuclear sector. Building on this momentum, we're now prepping another special session and NPPS 2025 in Istanbul to first showcase women achievements and strengthen our cooperation with Turkish partnership. The outstanding team of women professionals and Akkuyu Nuclear Power Plant deserves special recognition. The active participation in our joint project demonstrates the transformative impact of local expertise as we work together to create a more inclusive and professional environment in our industry. Our efforts are first supported by the International Council for the Support and Development of Women in Technology and Industry, which provides vital platforms for open dialogue and knowledge exchange. I would like to personally acknowledge the expression leadership of Mrs. Geni Rina Sunario, the council's chairwoman, along with Gül Hanim, whose dedication continues to inspire us all. I'm confident that today's discussions will spark new idea and reinforce our shared commitment to building a more inclusive and sustainable future in nuclear energy. Thank you for joining us, and I wish everyone a productive and engagement session.
Sorry about the sound. The volume is too low, but it's okay. It's okay. Thank you for greeting from our colleagues, women in nuclear Russia. So I will continue by today. We will have a very expert speaker. Her name is Mrs. Bahire Gul Goktepe. I hope I don't wrong your spelling. We usually call her as Mrs. Gul. She is a physicist, so I will read her short biography. She is a physicist and nuclear engineer with over 4 decades, so almost 40 years of experience in nuclear energy, environmental safety, and international cooperation. So she earned her Bachelor of Science in Applied Physics with Materials from the University of Sussex and her Master degree in Nuclear Reactor Engineering from Queen Mary Imperial College, University of London. So her early career at the Checkmate Nuclear Research Center focused on nuclear reactor technology. So this is very interesting one, and almost only few women worked on that. Fuel cycle studies also, and also safety assessment. She played a key role in Turkey's first licensing evaluation for nuclear power plant tenders. So this is very important one. I think we can learn from you. Go. And she pioneered the introduction of human factor engineering and potential risk analysis in Turkey. Internationally, she has served as project coordinator for International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, supported regional environmental programs for the Black Sea and Mediterranean regions. Notably, she led a successful Black Sea environmental management technical cooperation with involving 6 countries under that. In 2011, she was appointed nuclear attaché and expert counselor at Turkey's permanent mission to the UN, United Nations in Vienna, becoming the country's first woman in this role. During her tenure, she participated in the IAEA policy analysis post-Fukushima and contributed to nuclear safety, emergency preparedness, and technical cooperation programs. She, a prominent voice in public nuclear communication, she founded Women in Nuclear Turkey, or we call it NUCAT, and has actively advocated for the peaceful use of nuclear technology through media, education, and civil society initiative. This is very important one. So Indonesia should learn from her. She has authorized over 130 scientific papers and articles on nuclear policy, risk communication. So this is important one also, communication, energy, environment, interaction, and radiological safety. So let's listen, learn, and find inspiration in Turkey's experience from Mrs. Gul. Because even though we are nation apart, our vision is united, I think. A future powered by clean, safe, and inclusive energy for all. So the time is yours, Mrs. Gul.
Açıyor mu çocuklar?
Evet, açıldı.
Well, thank you very much, dear Jenny. It's a really great pleasure for me to be here. Çocuklar sunumu. Hı hı. Well,
Yapıyorsun. Hadi paylaş.
talking about nuclear energy, this is the title of our meeting today. And whenever we talk about nuclear energy, and every occasion is always exciting for me. You must think that it's not an easy job because there may be people with very many different ideas and very backgrounds in nuclear energy. It's not easy, but it is enjoyable and challenging, especially while the first nuclear power plant, Akkuyu, is under construction. It's a power plant that we dreamed for Turkey for many years. And addressing the audience in Indonesia, in particular, is an unusual, honorable, exciting, and exceptional event for me. Well, I will talk with my different titles here during this webinar. Basically, I'm a nuclear research scientist. I spent all my life, almost since my studies. And sometimes I make some points as a nuclear reactor engineer. And I will always keep my diplomatic advisor title. And I'm a co-founder and CEO of Nutec Energy. It's the first and only nuclear energy consultants company in Turkey. And I'm, of course, president of Women in Nuclear Turkey and part of the International Council for the Support Development of Women in Technology and Industry. But on top of everything, I'm a voluntary environmentalist. I've been an activist when I was much younger, and I will talk as a mother. So please, I must say that views and opinions I express during this webinar will be completely my own responsibility. They will not reflect any official views of any organizations. In Turkiye, as we call Nikat, is a network growing with many numbers of beautiful ladies from Turkey. We are more than 200 at the moment. Since 2014, we are strengthening our structure, and our common commitment for all our members is to provide information to all stakeholders on nuclear energy issues and to communicate with public. As Jenny pointed out, it's a very important issue. Our team in Women in Nuclear, we say nuclear is a green energy for peace, prosperity, and health in the country, in the region, and in the world. So we all aim for peace. When I talk about nuclear energy, I would like to talk about various aspects, but my preference is talking about the charm of nuclear. Why? Because the evolution story of nuclear technology from the discovery of radioactivity to the present day is a unique, mysterious, mystical, magnificent. Some people may describe nuclear energy with different words, but this is what I feel and how I work. Uh, now we have this meeting under what conditions? Because when you say nuclear energy, world conditions and conditions in each country have been changing really at an unexpected phase. But now, what we are talking, what are our outside conditions, is we are under the most serious threat for the world ecosystem with ever-increasing impact of changing climate. And under this condition, worldwide interest in nuclear power has been increasing as one of the key solutions to climate problem. Well, and the nuclear scientists are lucky because in old days, when I was much younger scientist, we could not convince anybody saying that the world was under great danger and nuclear was a solution, because most of the people thought that nuclear was dangerous, and the people did not pay so much attention to climate change. Now we are feeling all the negative effects. Average temperatures are rising. We don't have snow, or it's either we get extreme cold or extreme hot, and the water shortage, atmospheric pollution, diseases like pandemic, and forest fires, and etc. and etc. So we cannot ignore this biggest threat. And nuclear power generation under these conditions is expected to rise in many countries, including my country, Turkey. But before talking in nuclear, let's talk about our countries. As Jenny said, audience in Indonesia at present and Russia are very far from us. Indonesia and Turkey are 9,000 kilometers away, but it is a very close between our hearts, considering our friendship. In this respect, before I forget, I would like to thank Jenny Scenario and Women in Nuclear Indonesia and friends from International Council for Women in Industry and Technology. Here are our friends. You will see Jenny here, sitting here. Here is the most of the women in nuclear in Istanbul, and here is in St. Petersburg. We wonderful women, friends, we get together when we ever find an occasion. And I would like to say that there are very close relationship between Indonesia and Turkey in terms of politics and economy. They expect 100 years before. And very recently, Indonesia President Subianto paid an official visit to Turkey, invited by our president. It was in last month in April. President Subianto delivered a wonderful speech at the Turkish Grand National Assembly. And what he said that Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was his idol during his youth. And Subianto expressed that Atatürk is an example of perseverance, determination, and leadership, and saying that if you come to my office or home, you will see there's a statue of Atatürk. So he gained our hearts really for talking in this way about our great leader and founder of the modern Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. We really appreciate it. And let's look at our countries. Indonesia is, considering the surface area, is 3 times bigger than Turkey, and population is almost twice. But what is more important for me, the later you see these numbers here, 3,500 kilowatt hour per capita energy consumption, and Indonesia. If we look at these numbers, Indonesia is according to the GDP and the bigger economy than Turkey. It comes in the 16th ranking, and Turkey is 19th. And considering energy consumption per capita, Turkey is 38 in Europe. It means under this rate of modernization, both countries need more electricity, definitely. And let's look at the Turkey's energy outlook very briefly. Turkey has a very ever-increasing energy supply and demand. Although country is situated between Europe and Asia, it's a strategic situation. We call them as a bridge between Europe and Asia, and we are a neighborhood with the countries who are very rich in energy resources, in particular gas and oil, like Russia, Iran, Azerbaijan, Iraq, Syria, and further down Arab countries. Although Turkey geographically is located in energy-rich region, unfortunately, our domestic production is not sufficient, and our energy consumption is increasing, and we are 70% dependent on fossil fuels. Pipeline across the Black Sea, you will see Black Sea is the most intense energy transport route in the world, and transmission line redraws Europe's energy maps. They call it energy chess, pipeline chess. Installed capacity of our country has increased 118 gigawatt, and the distribution capacity by resources, if you look at the table, we get most of our electricity from hydro sources, thanks to our wonderful natural sources of our country, and almost 20% natural gas, then coal, wind, solar, geothermal, and other sources. If you look at the graph, here we get most of our electricity tanks, which from the hydro, which is clean energy, then gas and coal. Well, of course, what are the emissions? Because Turkey became the party of Paris Agreement in 2021, energy-related carbon dioxide emissions are very high, 390 million ton carbon dioxide. Well, I will just quickly highlight about energy policy and restructuring our energy system, just to tell you about the nuclear. Turkey's energy demand is increasing rapidly, has been increasing for the past several years as a result of high rate of industrialization and population growth. And I said we are dependent on important fossil energy, 70%. So it means that our new energy policy have changed, and I put a star here because I appreciated these new policies. They put a target of 52% renewable energy in the energy mix towards 2030. It is not an ambitious plan. It shows the positive signs already, because we already added 2 gigawatt of solar capacity. And our new energy policy of the Minister of Energy and Environment includes modernization, liberalization, increasing domestic production, decreasing energy imports, diversify energy mix and renewables, and include nuclear. And if we look at Indonesia, main electricity generation source is 66% coal, then oil, natural gas, and then comes hydro. So I can see Indonesia is still so much dependent on fossil fuels. And under this new world condition, we hope to see soon more renewables in Indonesia. You need more renewables and then nuclear, hopefully. Well, electric energy outlook for Turkey, as I said, in recent years, wind, solar were driving force in our energy production, and they are increasing. And nuclear, Turkish government has planned to build 3 large nuclear power plants as well as SMRs by 2035 to meet the growing energy demands. And also, we have zero emission target. The share of nuclear is expected to cover 30% by 2050. It's an ambitious target, but there are very positive signs already. Why I say this? Because Turkey made this announcement of 2050 net zero target, and first MPP project is under construction at Akkuyu. Well, with the Akkuyu, Republic of Turkey become a dynamic newcomer country. Akkuyu is the world's first nuclear power project implemented on BOO model, built, own, operate. You must take care of this description. It's a unique energy project between Russian Federation and Republic of Turkey. And this power plant will feature 4 units, and reactors are generation 3, VVER 1200. The total installed capacity 4.8 gigawatts. So it will provide 10% of Turkey electricity generation. We said when this was planned, but electricity generation capacity of Turkey has increased. So by the time 4 units generate electricity, it will be about perhaps 8% or less of electricity. Akkuyu Nuclear established following intergovernmental agreement between Russian Federation and Republic of Turkey in 2010. And Akkuyu is in Turkish, but has given a operational permission for the first unit. So it means electricity generation from first unit will be delivered to our national grid very soon, within a few months, and towards this end of year, I don't know. So the first plant is ready. Well, let's look at the project in general with an eye view. Why Turkey Akkuyu MPP under construction. Currently, it is the world's largest construction site. I visited that site several times. About 30,000 people are working, and 4 units are under construction at the same time. As I said, it's world's first BOO model. It's a Russian-Turkish partnership. But please, our Indonesian colleagues, take care of this. Akkuyu, I'm talking, it's our plant, of course. It's located in Turkey, and it will deliver energy to Turkey, but it's a Russian plant. It will be BOO model, means it is designed and built by Russians. We will be operated by Russians, and it will be owned by Russians. So what is the role of Turkey, and what are our benefits? We will discuss it later. It's under this very interesting model. Plant is subject to IAEA, international, national, Russian laws and regulations, as well as Turkish regulations. So it's a multifaceted, very comprehensive, multinational, multi-company, giant project with many different aspects and involving many different cultures. It's a really great big project. Well, Turkey's nuclear activities started soon after the first international conference on the peaceful uses of nuclear energy, which was held in Geneva in 1955. In 1961, a test reactor at Czech Major Nuclear Research and Training Center was commissioned, mainly for research and education purposes. And this is the place that I adore, and this is how I decided to follow my career, and it was a great place for research, and we accumulated really great, valuable experience there. In 1979, Trigger Research Reactor was commissioned. So research reactors, I always emphasize, were very important. And in Indonesia, you also have this. No matter whether you have an operating plan or not, the research facilities are very important for science and technology, for education, for research in every aspects of nuclear power. It's very important, and one of the key aspects for a country who wants to go nuclear, you must have a strong research facility. Turkey had plans for establishing nuclear power generation since 1970s, so it's a long way. Although these projects proposed, they were not realized. Mostly they failed due to various reasons, mainly financial, technical, socio-economic, or political. It will take so many hours if I try to explain these results, but I will go quickly. There were many buildings attempts in the past, and bidding failed. Well, why Turkey's journey, although started in 1956, has been subject to obstacles more than 70 years due to several reasons. And Akkuyu was first announced in 1970 when I was a very young scientist. I heard first about the Akkuyu from our Minister of Energy and Natural Resources in Ankara. Akkuyu was named in that general conference. And there were always plans after that, but it delayed more than 40 years. Although these projects failed, they provided valuable experience and basic infrastructure for the implementation and structuring nuclear power program. So, what we lost, we had no nuclear power, although we wanted it for 70 years efforts. Well, we become more dependent to fossil oils. So we had to face up with very heavy atmospheric pollution and health and environmental effects. Of course, climate change is a problem. We observed outcomes already. Turkey is an agricultural country, and climate is a real problem. And we had to suffer economic burden of energy cost. And of course, staying behind high tech is another issue for a country. Nuclear energy is a high tech. It brings many other technologies to a country. With a loss of experienced manpower is very important. It is an important issue for world nuclear industry and for Turkey as well. We had wonderful world famous physicists and engineers who worked in Turkish atomic energy research centers, all for the planning projects and other projects, but by age, they retired or went to other countries, or unfortunately we lost some of them. They died already. So we immediately need younger generation to take place of this experienced manpower. Of course, during this time, capital cost of nuclear power plants become higher and higher and higher. When I was young, I was always arguing that nuclear power generation cost was too low compared to fossil and other energy sources. Providing electricity from nuclear power plants was really low. That is why economy of France and Taiwan and other countries were so high compared to other countries. But unfortunately, Now, these days, costs are getting higher. What are the benefits and experience gained during this lost time? I'm talking about the time that we wanted nuclear power plant, but we couldn't. What happened? I talk about the negative. So what we gained during this time? Well, I will point out that reactor technologies are advancing. So there are new design, advanced design, and infrastructure development. We spent so much effort. We were involved in safety reviews, including myself. With every bidding, you have to go through safety reports of different reactor system, thousands and thousands of pages of documents. We have to do analysis, and so then it was a great very experience. So we had to study human factors, which were the main causes of the nuclear reactor accidents in the past in Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. And Fukushima is very important. If you are involved in nuclear energy, you'll have to get involved with human factors. And we had the environmental awareness projects, and we dealt so much in debates and media and everywhere, trying to tell people about nuclear energy. And we were fighting with environmentalists. So nuclear energy helped to increase environmental awareness in a way. And we had so much work in public risk communication, trying to find out why public had risk concern and public acceptance issues. We accumulated really great knowledge. We also had to work on safety and security awareness. And safety culture is a key area of nuclear. It gives you so much because the discipline which was developed with the development of reactors and nuclear power plants, and it brings a country safety culture, discipline and awareness in everyday life, in any sectors, and it is also emergency management issues are very important. Of course, advances in nuclear medicine, agricultural and industrial application went through over these periods. I said one of the benefits was the reactor types are advanced, because if we delayed 70 years, but reactors design starting from 1954, it's about when I look at this schedule, it is like my lifetime story from the times that we were. Unfortunately, a friend of mine who designed this table, he likes this sort of voice effects. Please look at this time schedule. Starting from 1950s, first nuclear power plant, Obninsk in Russian plant, then Magnus in UK. Then light water reactors, LWR, PWR, BWR, CANDU, VVR, MBK. They were the first nuclear power plants in 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Later, they started advanced reactor designs like advanced BWR STEM Plus, and reactor designs have really improved. They become designers made a bigger reactor, but more powerful, using less fuel, providing less waste, and more safe, extremely safety issues, and etc. These are called advanced 3 generation, then 3 plus and 4th generation. Reactor technology keeps improving. It is our lifetime story. I can tell you much more just looking at this graph. But luckily, we lost so much time, perhaps 40 years, with the delay in our system, but we catch this Akkuyu. It's a VVVR 3 plus generation. It's a very modern, safer type of reactor. So although we spent some time, we gain operating experience with research reactors, and basic nuclear infrastructure development is very important including the legal and regulatory framework, well-defined structure. We have the Independent Nuclear Regulatory Authority, Nükleer Düzenleme Kurumu, established in 2018. They are giving license to Akkuyu. Since Akkuyu construction started, there are many phases. Construction started 2018, and nuclear regulatory is established. And what are the main benefits of Akkuyu? Apart from the electricity generation, Akkuyu will generate electricity to our national grid. I don't want to talk about the cost. What we do, the kilowatt saat of the cost is in terms of dollars. It's not very cheap, but it will provide electricity, clean electricity. And it has created job creation at the site and near the site. Localization, integration of domestic suppliers into world nuclear industry market is very important. High-tech plus, safety culture departments, and many others pluses. What are the main aspects of Akkuyu cooperation benefit is the localization. It will be also very important for Indonesian industry. If you have a nuclear power plant, there must be local industry must take part in the business. Otherwise, what can you discuss? For Akkuyu, around 400 Turkish companies included in the supply chain of the project. They provide 40% of the construction, installation, and components. So many Turkish companies had a chance to play in the world nuclear industry market. It is very important. And the construction is completely undertaking jointly by Titan 2 and IC Nuclear, Turkish company. And of course, student training program is very important. I said it's a BOO model. It's a Russian plant. Russians are building it. They will operate it and they will own it. But there was a very good and strong student exchange program, which was part of the agreement in 2010. Within the scope of this program, number of Turkish students complete their university degrees in Russia, and they work in the Akkuyu. The number already is 300, over 300, and 35% of them are women. The training takes place in Russian universities, and this year more than 6,000 Turkish students made applications. And when this education program is completed, 600 students will be prepared to work at the various departments of Akkuyu MPP. So this is one of the best aspects of our agreement with Russians on Akkuyu. Well, talking about ne kadar zamanı var? Talking about nuclear, everybody
15 dakika.
everybody is so much interested in environment. I have no time to tell about the environmental benefits of nuclear, but very quickly, when we look at the energy system with the interaction of environment, there are many criteria you may consider. For example, natural resource consumption. Instead of millions of tons of oil and gas, you lose very small amount of nuclear fuel. Effects on the atmosphere, nuclear power plant has no chimneys. They have no release to atmosphere, whereas with the other fossil fuels, you have millions of thousands of cubic thousands of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, chlorofluorocarbon, and many other gases which pollute the atmosphere and cause climate change. And land use. Nuclear power plants have a very small area very efficiently, whereas if you use the area site for fossil fuels, gas, or renewables, even for wind and solar, you need much more land. There is no impact on water resources. Transport is done under very safe condition. It's not as dangerous as like transport of oil and gas, say, through the Black Sea or anywhere. Nuclear materials are transferred in the very safely. And responsibility of waste management, although many people are careless about waste management, nuclear waste can be recycled, volumes can be reduced, and there are new technologies. The volume can be reduced, and it is much safer and much less compared to energy used. And waste recycling is very important. Nuclear power plants can also be used to supply hydrogen. Well, one of our gains was in the risk communication. Today, as in the past, the acceptability of nuclear power plants by public is very important. I know it's a very important issue in Indonesia. It has been very important issue in Turkey, and it is still is. Preparation of public information programs and their implementation and the role of media are most important issues. No matter we talk about the safety of modern system and the benefits of nuclear power, there are always risk concern in the public view when it comes to talking on nuclear. Why? Although nuclear power plants have worldwide record of safe operation experience, always may give risk concern. But against this risk concern, three different expertise fields are available: safeguards, safety, and security. We call them 3S. When you have a nuclear system, nuclear power plant, you will have to have safeguards, safety, and security expertise and departments and people working in this area. Safety for against accident caused by natural hazards, internal and external events, hardware failures, and human errors. It is the area of safety. Security is involved with accidents, incidents caused by malicious acts like sabotage or material theft or dirty bombs. Safeguard is a different issue. It is sort of protection activities and expertise against proliferation acts. Any country who would want to wish nuclear power would have to sign an agreement, international agreement, like we did in Turkey and many other countries, for not the misuse of nuclear for proliferation acts. We only want to use nuclear for electricity generation and other application in high science technology and medicine and environment. Well, I said there are risks concern in public. I'm sure there are many in Indonesia now. What are the root causes of risk concern? What is it? Wrong, because it's due to wrong correlation between nuclear armament and peaceful uses of nuclear energy. People think that if you have a nuclear power, there may be nuclear arms. No. And it also depends on how it's portrayed in popular television shows and movies. Many television movies and shows, they depend on horror movies or scaring people about nuclear. And quality of media news are very important. Media can make very negative news or positive news based on the real facts and figures. And mistrust or trust towards technologies, administration, and politicians are very important. In the public concern, we did various research projects, and the risk concern surveys, which went on many, many years, especially after Chernobyl. So one of the main factor was the trust or mistrust to administrators. So people are affected by science fiction type of nuclear horror films. So if you are entering a nuclear field, complex issues with various important socio-economic aspects to be analyzed. Our work in the past in Turkey involved several reviews and studies. We looked through anti-nuclear movement in the West, its trends, the effect of major nuclear accidents, TMI, Chernobyl, Fukushima, on public acceptance. These were the very important period for our nuclear power program. Although Chernobyl was not in our country, it delayed our program and it really affected public concern and negatively the public acceptance. Public attitude in Turkey during MPP planning and bidding stages before Akkuyu was really very, very hard work. And we carried on during the construction of Akkuyu, and we are always looking at the role of media. About socio-economic aspects and social aspects of nuclear power plants, it's a very interesting field. The research conducted in the technical and social origin of this matter constitutes an avalanche in Western literature. Because if Western people, they don't want power plant, nobody can do it. Because the public have to have consensus on the acceptance. And acceptable issues may differ in regions, in countries, and in local communities. And it is very important to look at the science, society, technology, and culture interaction. Safety culture background, knowledge level in nuclear will not be the same in every country. Well, acceptable will take a considerable time. I'm sure you'll have to have a lot of effort in Indonesia. Lessons learned, I will go quickly. This work I'm telling you now in a few minutes, it took us years and years. It was one of the most difficult part of our work as a nuclear scientist, dealing with public acceptance. Well, what is the result of our risk perception study in the past? Our studies indicated that most important factors affecting the psychological behavior of public was the mistrust of risk managers and doubt on the information released. Also, sensational effect of the direct role of media, and also perceived risk of radiation event. For example, as a scientist, we could tell people that we were making measurements of the radioactivity contamination after Chernobyl. We knew very low values or no contamination at all, but some people think that they were mostly affected and all the cancer results were due to radiation. If they have this compulsory, what we call inoculation effect, it is very hard to tell them or convince them on the facts and figures. Especially scientists cannot be directly in communication relations with people. Usually the managers and politicians, they sort of address people, not the scientists. So this is very important. If you want to have an effective public communication activities in Indonesia, please sort of give roles to scientists and technologists to deal with the people. And our past experience during from 70s, 80s, 90s, 20s, 20s, 2020s is many during MPP bidding evaluation stages at the research centers. We had nuclear information unit, SNO public center, project meetings, environmental NGO activities, many regional cooperation projects. We had public debates. We had media programs which take 4 hours, sometimes until it would start midnight until morning. We had open forums, roundtables, NGO actions. It was a very hard time. So we are, especially as a woman in nuclear Turkey, we had hard work during all these years in the public interaction And I'm glad that we have been really strong in this issue and had a role in the development of Akkuyu. Well, it is very difficult to tell public on this extremely high-level, comprehensive, scientific, high-technology issues. So, my remarks on the effective communication with public. Effective communication with all stakeholders is a key to the success of MPP project. Role of media is very vital in effective communication to enhance the public acceptance in the neighborhood of a planned MPP, especially if the site is named. People around the site will be very anxious. So it is very important to establish the effective communication with local people. Well, one of the benefits of nuclear power plants introduction into a country, as you see, nuclear technology will introduce many other technical and scientific fields into a country, like quality control, materials, isotope separation, production of high temperature materials, advanced electrical engineering, automatic control, many others, meteorology, climatology. In addition to clean electricity production, many technologies will be introduced in a newcomer country. These will be the benefit of a newcomer. If you have a nuclear technology in Indonesia, it means you will have to have very many other fields. But for me, the most important is the safety culture. Safety culture is a discipline developed in nuclear technology and very important in Turkey now. As an advisor, I'm involved in safety culture training program in industry like building, construction, and other industries to bring this discipline by training. Well, we started all this accumulation of the experience and expertise with our research reactor. And as I emphasized, research reactor is very important. And one of the systems we developed is a radiation early detection system. In Turkey, this system started being developed in Czech, again, Nuclear Research Center, because people were concerned if anything happened in outside countries, how we would know. So we have detection systems, basic detection all over Turkey. We have a center, emergency center in Ankara. If anything happens in the radioactivity release, it will be immediately detected. And safety and security culture is very important when embarking on a nuclear program. There are many important aspects to be considered. Building a national nuclear power infrastructure for a newcomer is a complex issue, requiring more than at least 10 years of planning. Implementation of nuclear safety and security system include various steps. Here, in this way, we developed the NUSEC methodology, NUSAC and NUSEC, which involves in various steps, starting from risk concept to risk concern, availability of triage systems, lectures and workshops, safety and security leadership. These are the training programs that on behalf of my company, we are offering to newcomer countries. Well, nuclear is what we can talk about. What is the situation about nuclear energy in 2025 now we are and beyond? I would like to emphasize again, nuclear is the most advanced, most mysterious, most powerful, and most attractive multidisciplinary area of science, technology, mathematics, engineering, and various other branches of science and technology. So it's a privilege to be a scientist or manager or decision maker or worker in this arena. That is nuclear. We are all in this webinar, all the audience, and we are part of this arena. We are We are under this privilege. Well, it's even more privileged to be a woman in nuclear. And I would say that the world needs women leaders knowledgeable in safety and security for the peace and environmental protection of the world. I hope no politicians are listening to me. They may think that women in nuclear is heading towards politics, but this is what I think. Knowledgeable women leaders will have a major role in the world peace and security. Well, what are the women in nuclear? What's our role? While the worldwide interest in nuclear power is increasing, silent power of women is increasing. I can say that the silent power of women in nuclear industry is growing. The role of women in nuclear science and nuclear technology is very important for supporting international efforts to control climate change, as well as national development plans. So my friends in women in nuclear, Indonesia and Russia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and many other countries, please, I would like to emphasize this very important role. We will have to support our national and international efforts. And I always have these arguments because female empowerment organization benefit everybody. Without women in science and high technology taking part in decision making, societies are incomplete. Well, let's say what's being a woman in nuclear? Why we are talking about? Why we are to have this woman in nuclear national chapters? Well, what it means being a woman in nuclear? Being educated in the field of nuclear energy, which is one of the most prominent, most interesting, most critical, most mysterious subject in the world. Being in the discipline of high-level scientific research, development, and education. Being a woman means being able to have a saying in the most popular socio-political issues on energy, environment, economy, and interaction. Because nuclear energy sits in the center of all important issues in the world: energy, environment, and economics, and public. So, being able to work in the emission-free with clean energy production, it means you are one of the key environmentalists. Strength of being a woman trained in various multidisciplinary areas in nuclear. I would like to emphasize that. What we are, what we can do. We are the top experts in safety and security because these expertise fields are developed in nuclear. Risk concern, accident and hazard assessment. We are best emergency risk communicators. No other career or profession have the knowledge of this large spectrum of knowledge and experience. Believe me, safety, security, risk concern, accident assessment, emergency risks, etc. This is our part of our education and part of our discipline. We are active environmentalists. Not perhaps you may not be all active, but I know you are all concerned on the environment. But I always encourage my colleagues in Women in Nuclear. We have been really active environmentalists at Çekmece Nuclear for the protection of our lake of Çekmece and for the interaction of people. The lake was being polluted by industry and domestic sewage, but people were blaming Nuclear Research Center. So we had to communicate with them. We have to invite it to our center. We developed a very interesting and strong public communication and environmental projects. Then later, we done a lot of work in the Black Sea. Unfortunately, I have no time to tell about them. Well, women are at the core of energy matters in all countries. And I must say that role models are very important for young generation. We need to encourage young generation to take part in the work of ours. And we must put role models. Well, accumulation of our long knowledge of technology assessment of experience in Turkey is a long road. When I tell my story in nuclear, I said long, thin road and long road of Turkey starting from 50s to this year. What we have done, established of well-developed independent regulatory authority, experienced manpower development. We have research reactor operating experience. We have facilities, systems, infrastructure. We develop supply chain management, environmental safety, public information, and we develop collaboration between women organizations. Well, I'm pleased to say that my narrow roads from Akkuyu extended to Silk Road. Recently, at the end of the past year, we had beautiful meetings in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and from Silk Road now to Indonesian islands. We are very happy to share our experience and possibility of cooperation between Turkey and newcomers could be on safety and security culture development, safety assessment, nuclear research and development, and many other fields, especially risk assessment, safety culture development, and supporting girls for STEM. We are colleagues of Women in Nuclear. We have this project as a part of International Council. STEM, we'll have to encourage girls to take part in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And Women in Nuclear Turkey, we introduced a STEM project with 4 clover. Why 4 clover? This 4 clover means faith, hope, love, and luck. So we resemble science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and take part as role models. Well, Akkuyu MPP, I try to tell you of what can I tell you? It's a long, long story of nuclear technology and nuclear journey of Turkey, Akkuyu, and role of women in nuclear, public communication. I only give you brief highlights from my angle of what I believe. But Akkuyu has been one of the most important benefits of Akkuyu. It has been a communication bridge between women in nuclear Turkey, women in nuclear Russia, and women in nuclear Central Asia, Turkish-speaking countries, and now women in nuclear Indonesia, because it's due to with the reason of Akkuyu, we are communicating and we are exchanging our views and opinions. So I'm very happy that this communication, we established a good communication. So I'm happy that my long, thorny way starting in 1970s, like the development of reactor technology in the world, I have a long, long way, long, difficult way, but very enjoyable at the same time, going from research scientist from Çekmece Nuclear Research Center to diplomacy in Vienna, down to retirement as a consultant in NUTEC and voluntary environmentalist and part of women in nuclear community in the world. It goes from this narrow road from Akkuyu to Silk Road, now to the world's largest archipelagic country, which has more than 17,000 beautiful islands, to this beautiful country, Indonesia. I'm very happy with this contribution, and I thank you for your attention and my best wishes to Indonesia on their nuclear power journey.
Thank you so much, Guru. Wow, this is very comprehensive one. I think that we should
I
invite
finished this
you.
time. Thank you.
I think that we should invite you to discuss about the small things because very, very comprehensive one. Yeah, very interesting one. So actually, I'm having so many questions regarding to what your in here. The first one I want to ask you, you already mentioned about the key area, the important key area. And then Indonesia now is in the pace of to accelerate our nuclear power plant program. What do you think? What from the several key area, what we should do first, or public acceptance, or maybe you can advise us. So what do you think?
Well, first of all, for a country acquiring nuclear power, it's a country's administration's business. You know, it's their responsibility. Energy authorities have to decide on whether they want a nuclear power plant or not. Not every country in the world have a power. You must look at the examples of what are the benefits that country who have nuclear power are getting, and do you really need it or not? And that's why I quickly looked at the energy outlook of Turkey and Indonesia, because as I said, in many years before, we could only think about the energy, nothing more, and public, but we were not thinking about the climate change issue. Now it is the number one issue in the world is the climate change. We'll have to think about it. Because it's a sort of environmental disaster that we are already late in the world. We must, each nation, each country have to take action. So nuclear is one of the best option against climate change. So you can start with this. Also, in energy outlook of Indonesia, you are dependent of coal. Basically, 66% of your energy is sort of generated by coal and gas. I think coal is very important domestic source. I agree. It's also for Turkey. It's one of our domestic source. But you have to have mixed energy. Coal, hydro, renewables, and nuclear. So it is really, first of all, your governmental authorities have to issue this plan. They have made strict plans. You'll have to reduce this climatic emission. You'll have to, most of the countries signed the Paris Agreement, and they had agreed on reducing their carbon dioxide by certain year. How Indonesia will make it? And in this way, nuclear will be one of the major solution. Then you must tell this to public, how you will do it. In this way, communicating with public, women are the best communicator. This is how Women in Nuclear was established many years ago in London, because world nuclear industry was very strong in those years, in 90s and 80s, and in USA and Europe and everywhere, but they did not care so much about the public. And then the public reactions become really big issue in Western world. They said that, okay, we are big industry, but we must tell this to people. And they started giving more priority to PR programs. PR programs are very important. You must never neglect public. And I can remember one American big industry leader saying that. He said, "Oh," and we said, "Yeah, we are big industry. I damn the public. Well, what is public? Or if we are big industry, we go whatever we do. We are big politician. We are big dictators. We do whatever we do." No, it's not the case now. In this century, 2012, you cannot really successfully implement a project if the people react to it. You lose so much time and sort of sympathy and energy. So starting with the program, your national program of nuclear, you must immediately put an effort into public communication and never neglect it. It is very important. And we had a training in Istanbul for training journalists how to communicate with public in nuclear. It's not easy. It's very complicated. There's always risk concern, but it's a big industry. It's really very beneficial for country, but how to tell it? It is, as I said, it took us for many years, and we will be happy to help you as an advisory and consultancy in this area. It is really, it takes a long time. And we worked with different people in Europe after Chernobyl, especially. We had a lot of experience. In this way, I would be happy to communicate with you further if you need. On the public communication is very important. Please don't
Neglect.
don't neglect it. Don't underestimate it. Usually politicians tend to underestimate it. Politicians, then they are the ones who suffer at the end. But don't believe in the politicians. Be with them and tell them the reality, and they must put in the program right from the beginning public information departments or people, whatever it is.
We will invite Pak Jarod. Pak Jarod is the previous Indonesian nuclear, the chairman of the Indonesian Nuclear Energy. What do you think, Pak Jarod?
Thank you, Mrs. Gul, about your presentation. Very informative and very interesting. For me personally, the BOO scene is very good example, although I think there are a lot of challenges for the country like you. I have several comments or questions about this BOO, maybe non-technical questions about, well, Turkey is the NATO members. It means you have aligned on military with the other countries, the United States, Western Europe. But you will build on the land of Turkey the Russian technology, and the Russian will own and operate that NPP.
Exactly.
Is there any resistance from the nation, from the community about that unique situation?
Well, there are always, from time to time in the newspapers, but public really, they did not pay so much attention to local public this issue because they are happy with the job creations and with the, development in this area. But you pointed out a very important issue. Now, especially Turkey is in the hot spot of the world in the region because in our south, countries like Syria, Balkan, Palestine and Israel, there are war, and Russia and Ukrainian war is going on. Unfortunately, we hope that soon should stop. Under these circumstances, yes, Turkey is one of the major allies of NATO, and whereas Russia is not. Under these very unusual circumstances, this agreement from government to government has been signed in 2010, and it's been going on so far. So I hope the political fluctuations will not affect the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. I very much hope so. But world politics is in a different way than what world scientists think. That's why I encourage most women in nuclear to take part in all the issues. Perhaps sometimes, if necessary, political, because political decisions are affecting our world and our environment. So we must use for the safety and security of our countries and people. Well, this is a very difficult question, and I hope that this will not be a problem for the safe operation of Akkuyu plant in Turkey. It's a very unique model, really.
Okay, that's good. That's good response. Also the answer. Can I add some questions, Bugeni?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, about the correlated with the politics. I'm sorry to ask you again about Russia have a conflict or war with Ukraine. and it means that Russia, well, some countries boycott the product, or sometimes if Russia want to buy the parts of the NPPs, then they cannot get it from the Western Europe or from the United States. Is there any challenge during the process of constructions, for example, well, to get the turbine from, it should be coming from West Europe, but because the boycott, so you have to find a way to buy from, Russia should buy from the China, from other countries?
Yes, you're right. Exactly what you say. The scenarios has been happening. Of course, we are outsider from what we hear from the newsletters or newspapers. Yes, one company, German company, were supposed to supply some equipment to Akkuyu, but the government did not give a permission. So the plant's owner had to get it from China. Now, luckily, world nuclear industry is developing from different part of the world. But as a nuclear scientist who spent all her life for peace and security and friendship for the world, I don't like this division. West is against this, and China and India and Russia on one side, Europeans and on the other side, um, uh, and hope soon the world peace and security will be at the level that we expect. I'm very much hoping that, of course, it's the international matter and it's the responsibility of politicians and leaders. But while I'm sort of supporting Akkuyu project and talking about the good and wonderful aspects for the world peace, security, and for countries' energy generation, and of course, I get very much upset with the wars going in the south and in the north, in Russia and Ukraine. I very much hope that world leaders will stop fighting. And perhaps I will lead the role of women in nuclear, and we will write letters to world leaders. Just make a plea to please, we want peace, peace
Okay.
and friendship. No
Okay.
matter nation, what kind of people. This is the theme of our Women in Nuclear principle. Nuclear is green energy. It's for peace in our country, in our region, and in the world. This is what we believe. Thank you
Okay.
for this
One
question.
one more questions about is there any possibilities that Turkey will take over the NPPs in the future? Although this is BOO, do you think
Sorry, what?
is there any possibility that the government of Turkey or the Turkey companies will take over the NPP in the future?
Yes, the Turkey is already planning different NPPs, NPPs, nuclear power plants. Yes.
No, I mean the Akkuyu. It means the ongoing under process construction. The NPP, maybe Russia will operate for many years. Then during the operation, maybe the Turkey's government or Turkey's companies.
It's many unknown. No, Russians will operate and they will own the plant for 60 years, 70 years, 80
60
years.
years. Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very
Very
interesting.
long-term plan is like that, but you never know what happens, in 20, 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it is written from the beginning that it will be owned by Russian until it decommissioned.
No, even if the commission, the Akkuyu is a Russian
60
plant.
years. Yeah, 60 years.
There's no time limitation because
Okay.
the site is allocated for them. and they will own, they will operate the plant, they will own, they will supply electricity to our national grid, but we will pay for the electricity cost.
Yeah.
Turkey
Oh,
will.
I remember one thing about the spent nuclear fuel, about the radioactive waste, about the spent nuclear fuel. Is there any scenario to take back to the Russians region after operation of the NPP? Then the spent fuel goes to Russia.
You are putting the very critical questions. At the beginning of the project agreement, the idea was that since Russians own everything and it's on their fuel, and they were supposed to take it back. But now the plans have been changed, I think. Anyway, high radioactivity fuel, they have to be taken to radiation waste pools first for several years. After that, they will be recycled. But who will recycle? If they are going to be recycled, they have to be taken back to Russia. If not, it is again unknown. Unfortunately, I'm not knowledgeable on this recent issue on how they will deal with the spent fuel. But for several years, we know that they have to be stand by on the waste fuel pools. And later on, for recycling, what will be done is I have no idea of the details at all.
Okay, thank you.
But waste is a very important issue, especially for public. Again, at Çekmece Nuclear Research Center, we had a small waste disposal facility, waste recycling, nuclear waste department with friends who are knowledgeable in this area. Again, in your research centers, you must also have the waste disposal departments. Nuclear waste is a very important issue.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Jarod. There is one participant who raised his hand. Pak Muhtar, silakan. Short question, please.
Thank you very much for the time. Actually, I would like to ask three questions, but from the speaker, Ms. Gurtotema, has answered my question. But just one question. Turkey is the continental nation, and Indonesia is the geographic nation, archipelago nation. So what I want to ask to our distinguished Ms. Guskop Bahri, if we compare apple to apple, not apple to not to Android. So do you have any suggestion from your experience how to manage the power plant nuclear in Indonesia, like at Jakarta, Tangerang itu, kemudian at the similar modular cell at Babel and at Batam or at Jawa Timur. So the journey is the same like Turkey. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry if there is misunderstanding. Thank you.
Well, if I understand the question correctly, what type of plant I can advise for Indonesia? Does it mean that?
Maybe Pak Muhtar mentioned about because Indonesian is consists of thousands islands, so different
7,000.
in Turkey. And what is your suggestion?
Well, my suggestion is, of course, I'm pro-nuclear person. I always sort of advise and support nuclear. But for a country like Indonesia, 17,000, it is difficult. But on the other hand, seawater is very important as a coolant. I don't know the average temperatures in the sea. reason how the efficiency of the nuclear power plants, believe me. But definitely large plants will not be. So large plants may not be suitable in Indonesia. But I'm not in a position to advise what type of plant maybe. But now the world fashion is SMR, small, medium plants, rather than big plants, which are more expensive and more. SMRs may be more suitable for Indonesia to start with the nuclear. For every country now, it's a fashion, as I said. All the countries, rather than trying to with the complex issues of big nuclear power plants, they are again the trend is preference of small medium reactors. You may start with the SMRs. You may, but it is not up to me really.
Thank you, Gul. Gitu ya Pak Mutar ya. Jadi dengan power yang kecil. Terima kasih Pak Mutar. We are having another question. We already running the time, but I will give Mas Nara from Germany. He is a student. Do you want to give or deliver the question orally, or please show your video?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. What is the?
But no picture of you.
Yes, no, this is my picture. Sorry.
So he is a
wrong
student
camera.
in German. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Dr. Gul, I am currently a doctoral student. My background is ethics of engineering or philosophy of engineering, and the idea of public communication is something that I'm very passionate about. So I have one question. It's just based on your experience as a physicist, as a woman, as an engineer, after advocating about nuclear power in Turkey for decades probably. I want to know what do you think is the best attitude that a nuclear engineer, nuclear physicist should maintain when they are proposing nuclear energy to policymakers?
Well, if you are making a proposal to policymakers, you are much further higher than from them. Remember that, because you have knowledge, right? You have, but the power of you will be your knowledge and your background, and much more than you will be much more stronger than politicians. They are just politicians, but you are a scientist, you are a technologist, you have this real knowledge and education. So you please be self-confident. And if you believe in something, please be strong and argue. Put your argument with a scientific base, because they really need best people for planning. If they don't have knowledgeable people, they may make wrong plans. And they have to be vision. And please try to enlarge your vision. Learn, always look at the other countries, look at their stories. What are the gains and what are the benefits, and what is their experience, and summarize them. Make an analysis and synthesis. Make a synthesis on what you observe, what you learn, and produce them, and be confident, and make a good argument for them. So you will be really useful. You provide them good scientific, strong input for decision makers. It's very important.
Thank you. Great answer. Thank you very much.
And I see, we have a lot of audience.
Sorry.
Also write
Thank you so much, Gul. And the
answer
time is already 1 hour and 30 minutes. Actually, we are still having so much questions, but you have to go to see the doctor also. And then Yeah. Himnis participant, thank you so much for your
Uh,
participation.
Get my email at the beginning of the page. İlk başta. So if they have question, the audience and students in particular,
I will
they
send
can
you.
Gmail or Nutek Energy Info
Okay.
or to the my Gmail. They can find me and okay. I will be happy to write to them. Okay.
Yeah, this is
gmail.com. Okay. Or
This
Nutek info Nutek
Mhm.
Energy. I will be happy to respond to their question. And I was really honored to have a chance to address you wonderful friends so far away in Indonesia. And as I said, it's a friendly country. And I will be happy to communicate as a member of Women in Nuclear or as a consultant of NUTEC, whatever you like.
I hope that we can see you in Indonesia because we are planning to have the Women Forum on November.
Wow,
So,
great.
Yeah. So I hope that we can meet face to face with you and ask a lot of questions to you.
Well, I love it. With pleasure. Okay.
So before we close this webinars, Mrs. Go, do you do you have any closing remark that's supporting us or motivating us? Please.
So, as I said, thank you very much for organizing this webinar. It raised many questions, but of course, I had to speak so fast and try to touch most of the important points that it would take me hours to discuss on certain points, but no time. So I hope it was not so complicated presentation. It was colorful, definitely. I put a lot of color rather than putting so many numbers and tables. So it was just a general outlook of our energy situation, Akkuyu, and the role of women. Again, I would like to emphasize role of women, and not only women or the men, young students should be more active. They should study so well because it's a unbelievably interesting and field world of nuclear. I try to emphasize in my presentation is a challenging issue. It is always important within the world energy, environment, and socio-economic aspects and economics, everything, very many aspects. So be strong, confident, and work hard. And please keep interacting with each other. By as individual, we are nothing. As a communities and women interacting on a friendly base, we are so strong. And the world needs strong people who believe in the peace and security and better conditions in the world. So we act together. I will be happy to, do whatever I can for younger generation.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Gul. Very interesting and very encouraging one, your presentation, really. And then, Bapak dan Ibu participants sini, thank you so much for today. Yeah, I hope it is very useful, I think. Yeah, and then it will encourage some Indonesian. Maybe there are the government college in here who participated in our webinar. They can extract your lesson learned or your experience, Mrs. School experience to be implemented in Indonesia. And so please be kindness. If we are having another challenging, you will be our expert. Thank you so much, Bapak dan Ibu, Mrs. Go, for today. Stay healthy and be happy. See you next week.
I thank you to all participants who listen to me and to my young assistants, Kerem and Serkan, and to everybody. Lots of love and greetings from Istanbul.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Sampai ketemu minggu
Thank you very
depan
much.
kami.
Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih.
Ya.
Sehat
Salam.
semua.
Terima kasih.